And hello, everybody. It is the Open Eve, the 151st edition of the Open Championship, about to take place up there near Liverpool. It's Wirral, I think, actually, isn't it? Officially, at Hoylake. And you can see that Mr. Tindall, Dave Tindall, he's there. He's actually in the place. Look at him. He's got the backdrop and everything. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. This is the room where all the players are interviewed, but they're all done for today. So I think I can get away with this, and we won't be disturbed. But if people wander in the background, we'll just go with it.
Yeah. Well, we always say we come as late as possible to allow Dave to get himself across all of the various press conferences and what have you. And they've been taking place, as he says, just behind him. So what have we learned? I mean, I'll go through the top end of the market before I ask you the question, because we've got obviously a star-studded field. Scotty Scheffler, he's 7-1. In fact, best price of 8-1 now. Rory McIlroy, 8-1. John Rahm is in there at 13s. Cam Smith is 20s. 22-1 for Brooks Koepka. Victor, my mate, he's 22s as well. I'll stick those across the bottom of the page as well, so you can see the prices going across the bottom there. But DT, as I say, star-studded field. Rory comes in with tremendous form from Scotland last week, having won it last time it was played at that course as well. But plenty of contenders, I would suggest.
There are, and I've been taking notes in my open notebook that you get free. Yeah, if you're the press, you get like a bag of stuff. You get a nice baseball cap with the Open on it, and you get a really terrible tie, which I'd normally try and give away. If anyone wants to write in and wants an Open tie,
we should do a competition prize.
Yes.
Yeah, you can win yourself an Open tie.
I think it's a monstrosity, an absolute crime to fashion. But if you like a tie with sort of stripes, like you work, you're part of an old golf club, let me know, because you can have it, because I don't want it. It's awful.
I'll tell you what we'll do is if you to the, well, actually that's the wrong Twitter feed. That was my Cricket Badger one. Hang on a second. Late Tea Time Pod at Late Tea Time Pod. If you put in your winner of the Open for over the next few days before we get to the first ball being hit, then the one that gets it right, or the one that will draw it out the hat if there's a tie, to win a tie. And you can win Dave Tindall's official Open tie. But anyway, in terms of where we're going to go with the best bets then, DT, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, obviously, being here allows me to wander around the press tent asking lots of people who've got inside knowledge, and, they're part of a golfer's camp, or, they've been interviewing them and talking to them. We can't keep track of everybody. So the general consensus, well, not the general consensus, but I've had a few words with people, and a couple of same names have cropped up. And one is Tommy Fleetwood.
Right.
There's a lot of love for Tommy Fleetwood here. Some of those sort of quite close to him believe he's mentally very sort of ready to win a major now, and that makes sense to me. If you look at his Open record, he was second at Royal Portrush in 2019, fourth at St Andrews last year, 12th at Carnoustie 2018. There was a big thing about him 6 years ago when the Open was at Birkdale, which is like his local track.
Yeah.
And I think the feeling was that put a lot of pressure on him. I think he did quite well, 27th, but it was all like, oh, this is your week, Tommy. It was all. Whereas here, he's still kind of a local, but he's not the local. And apparently he's played this course quite a lot, knows it well, but there's not that same it's your local course, Tommy, feeling or added pressure. Now, he knows the lay of the land really, really well, and he's got that Open form, and he's got a really good current form. So you look at his current form, he was 6th in the Scottish Open last week. And then in June, he was 5th in the US Open, runner-up in the Canadian Open when he lost the playoff. So a lot of love for Tommy Fleetwood, and it's based on just a few extra elements that maybe I wasn't that attuned to, the local knowledge and the fact that those quite close to him feel he's ready. There's quite some positives for Tyrrell Hatton, but just that slight feeling that he is getting a rather cross with himself, more so than normal, that he can't turn winning positions into victory. So although there's definitely a lot of love for Hatton in terms of he'll go well. Maybe he'd be more of a top 10, but in terms of actually being able to maybe cross the line in front and get the win, Tommy Fleetwood.
Well, Tommy Fleetwood is best price. He's 28 to 1, but you only get 7 places with that. You can probably best price.
That's okay, I think that's okay. I think, you look at his majors record, he's got a lot of inside the top 7s.
Okay, so
if he does play well, he plays really well.
Right, so we'll stick Tommy Fleetwood on the betting slip at 28 to 1, 7 places. I was looking at the prices earlier when I was obviously filling in the our template, and I couldn't understand. I mean, Tyrrell Hatton, he's quite high up in the with the bookies this time, and he's obviously a fantastic player. But you've got players beneath him: Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, Dustin Johnson, Shane Lowry, who have all, Matt Fitzpatrick, who are all major winners. Tyrrell Hatton's never done that. His price looks a little bit short to me.
Yeah, the consensus here is he's got a good chance of playing really well, but lots of people are going when they look at his odds. So yeah, I agree with you there. I think his odds are too short compared to others with similar or even better credentials. So expect him to go well, but I just can't back him at those sort of odds really. If you look at the major records, Fleetwood's got so much better placing in majors, so he's the one at that sort of price.
Before I get you to go on to another selection, Rory.
You'll like the other selection, by the way.
It's either Victor or Colin, isn't it? There's a sneak preview for you. Rory comes off the back of the Scottish Open last week, where he played brilliantly, didn't he? And he's obviously got some decent form behind him coming into this one. He's very short. He's basically joint favourite with Scotty Scheffler going into the 4 rounds. Everybody says the Wirral, but I heard Graham Beecroft say on TalkSport once it should just be Wirral. But anyway, how do you rate Rory's chances of reclaiming the Open at a course that he knows very well?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously got a fantastic chance. It's a lot to do with how straight he can drive the ball. The feeling here, a lot of people have asked about the rough. How bad is it? How deep is it? How thick is it? I don't think it's not too bad, is the feeling. It's not too bad, but it can be bad in spots. I think the biggest danger to errant drives is the bunkers. They're just really penal. And you look at Rory's driving; it's not very straight this season at all. So that would be a bit of a concern. And whether he's going to take them on, try and fly them, or maybe lay up short of them. But if he's driving just not quite on it, because he does hit some loose ones, those bunkers are going to eat him up. And just a little snippet here: he played a practice round with Shane Lowry yesterday. Shane Lowry won the money apparently. So
all right.
A little tip there for Shane Lowry, maybe. Although I've just been out on the 17th. There's this new. You'll see a lot of hype about the 17th this week. A new par 3 that could make or break a round of golf and could be decisive. On Sunday, the 71st hole, penultimate hole, and could be carnage. I saw Shane Lowry hit it into a bunker and then take 4 shots to get out, and he couldn't get out. So the last one, he flicked it up with his club and headed it onto the green. So that's the way to do it. Yeah, doesn't count, but he was laughing. But Padraig Harrington had 3 goes to get out.
And you're talking about, Shane Lowry's a good bunker player as well, isn't he?
That's it. This was in the left bunker, which is, if you're too near the face, you've sort of got no chance. There's also a front bunker where the wind's blowing into you. I've seen a few players sort of whip it out and it sort of carries in the wind and then just catches the slope and runs back in. And Lowry did that as well, actually. So that 17th, a couple of people said, it's a par 3. A couple of people have said, don't be surprised if you see like an 8 or 9 or even a 10 on that hole. So that could be some viewing.
And a bit of football as well as they head it onto the green.
Head it onto the green.
You've queued me up rather nicely, though, to ask my normal question. Dave Tindall, my 2 friends, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, which one should I back this time?
Do both. I really like both.
Yeah?
I'm already on Colin Morikawa before I got here, but since I've been here, which is only like this morning, there's a real good word going around for Victor Hovland. Just that that kind of sense that he is now a proper major player. He's in that cast list that you're going to see there every time there's a major. I mean, you look at his record: 7th in the Masters, runner-up in the PGA, 19th in the US Open this year. So he's really got his act together in the majors. A lot of people thinking it's got to be his turn soon. And then I'm in the media tent now. Just outside is the sort of chipping area where players practice. Now, I've watched him hit chips, which is traditionally a really weak part of his game, and he was really fizzing them and landing them really where he wanted to. They were just gripping and landing right by the hole. He did it time after time after time. So just getting that first-hand view of him chipping well, looking confident, plus what some of the other sort of guys in here think, I don't want to miss Victor Hovland this week. So the fact as well that he's a real good driver of the ball, which is, I think, what you need to be this week. So there's a lot of stuff playing into Victor Hovland's hands. So yes, I mean, for you as a fan of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, this, I think, is a great course for both of them.
Oh, excellent. So that's made my mind up. Then that's where my money's going, because you can get Colin Morikawa best price of 33 to 1, but that's only for 5 places. I probably want a little bit more than that, so you can go to 30 to 1, 8 places with the likes of Bet365 and Sky Bet. So we're putting Colin on the betting slip at 30 to 1, 8 places. And then scroll up a little bit because he's a bit shorter now, Victor, because he's been doing rather well. Victor Hovland, around about 20 to 1, 8 places with Bet365, Sky Bet and the like. So both of those, DT, go certainly on my betting slip and onto the Late Tea Time podcast betting slip as well this time.
Yeah. And I've got one more. Really is a really good one, this one.
Okay.
This is in the, I'm probably going to say top 20 market. You could look top 30 maybe. Okay. You could look top 10, but Seamus Power,
right,
the Irishman. Now, if you didn't know what I've just heard, you wouldn't touch him with a barge pole this week, because he pulled out of the Scottish Open last week with a hip injury, and there's a big doubt whether he would play. So, you'd meet it go, I don't know. But a couple of the Irish journalists tell me that the hip injury is fine. He played the British boys here, and I found a quote where he says he loves Hoylake.
All right.
He's not played great this season, but he said there's some really good signs in his game. He was frustrated he couldn't show them in Scotland, but here we are in the big one at Hoylake. And then I was looking at I remember backing him in one of the majors last year. Last year in the majors, he had a 9th and a 12th. So he can mix it in this company. Now, looking at the odds on Seamus Power, he's 7 to 1 for a top 20.
Yes.
They seem big odds for a player who's got 2 top 20s in the majors last year. Someone who's come back to a little bit of form. He played nicely at the John Deere, got a top 20 there on his last start. His last completed start, he actually pulled out the Scottish Open after, I think, 9 holes. But the hip isn't a problem. He's not worried about that. And he's also got a real determination to make the Ryder Cup team. And he realises he needs to really kind of put his foot down a little bit. He's still placed nicely, I think, on the world points list from what he did last year. He's still sort of on track, but I think he really wants to nail that place down. So it's a big incentive for him. So he's got quite a lot of threads, pulling us in, I think. And yeah, I mean, top 20, 7 to 1. I think that's where I'm landing. That's maybe the sweet spot. But so you could be a little bit more cautious, play top 30, top 40. But I think he could be a bit of a surprise package this week, or just someone who, he's maybe not going to win, but he could play nicely and land some decent odds.
Well, while you were rattling on there, as you say, 7 to 1, top 20. I also looked at top 10, 17 to 1. And if you fancy him top 30, he's 100 to 30. So obviously, depending on your preferences there, you can get on Seamus Power for a place up there in the northwest of England. Is that you done then for the round 1 preview?
I think so. I'm just looking at my notes for there's a helicopter going overhead. My notes for the 17th, I don't know what. There'll be a load of specials markets this week. I don't know if they're all out yet, but if you can find one on the 17th, the highest score there, go as big as you can.
Yeah.
Because it could be carnage. I've heard one of the top players landed in the front bunker and couldn't get out after 4 attempts and gave up. I've seen it with my own eyes, Harrington and Lowry struggle. So, yeah, we could see some carnage there.
How easy is, I mean, presumably they're not getting out trying to get it onto the green. How easy is it to go out sideways or backwards from it as well? Is it hard to do that?
It's difficult to go out sideways. What they could do is they could just like knock it 5-10 foot back in the bunker. So it's in the back of the bunker and then have a go. But a couple of us were discussing this. We reckon, say you've not got out of it by the 5th shot or 6th shot, your head will be so scrambled, you might just keep going at it.
Yeah.
So maybe, you might be so far down the field or you're about to miss the cut that you're not necessarily thinking straight.
Yeah.
So it could just add up to some ridiculous score there.
I've played rounds of golf with people that have got quite short fuses when they get frustrated, and clubs go flying all over the place and swear words go flying all over the place, and it gets a little bit nasty. 17th might be the scene of things like that then.
Could be.
Yeah,
could be.
That could make it very, very interesting. Anyway,
today, I mean, I watched all sorts going on there today, and it really wasn't that windy. It was maybe a 10-mile-an-hour wind, that's a crosswind. So if you get an into wind, it's going to throw the ball back into that front bunker. Yeah, the recipe is there for disaster. For
absolute unmitigated disaster by the sounds of it. Anyway, just a reminder, DT's got a tie that he doesn't want. It's a fashion disaster, apparently. But if you want to have that official tie at Late Tea Time Pod, before they hit off for the first round tomorrow, give us your winner of the Open this week at Late Tea Time Pod. And whoever gets that right can get yourself a tie that DT would not be seen dead in.
That's probably why you would wear it if you were dead. But what if no one gets the winner? I'm desperate to get shot of this thing. What's the highest placed guess?
Yeah, if everybody goes for Rory McIlroy and then there's one person goes for Colin Morikawa and Colin Morikawa finishes second but doesn't quite win, whoever's got Colin Morikawa wins. It's whoever gets nearest the pin kind of thing in terms of who wins. Yeah. Because DT does not want this hanging around. Although there'll be pictures of you later after you've been out in the bars of Liverpool with it tied around your head, won't it? Yeah. This has been a Sports Broadcast Media production. Gamble responsibly, of course, absolutely everybody out there. Hopefully everybody enjoys the Open. Of course, we will be back with you between rounds as well. Me and DT will be back with you at round 2, round 3 and round 4. How long are you staying actually on the course there, DT, when you're back home?
Yeah, I'm a bit sort of back and forth. I've got various other commitments and duties. So I think tomorrow I'll be back. I'm here tomorrow in the daytime, but I think we'll record this when I'm back home.
Yeah.
And maybe I can show you a live shot of the tie.
But you have to, if you're going home to do it tomorrow, bring that backdrop with you. Just put that in the back of your car.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we can do that from your living room tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway, enjoy the golf tomorrow, DT. As with everybody else out there, hopefully you have a good time. Hopefully you have some success on your betting slips as well. And we will see you ahead of round 2 as this 151st Open gets up and running. We'll see you then. Cheers, everybody.
Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information.